You heard me! 9 editors, 9 writers, and this whole story reads like none of them knew what the others were doing! But now that the preludes are over with, we can begin the story proper with Batman number 13. The issue opens with Harvey Bullock talking to Commissioner Gordon about how strange days are upon them, as is indicated by the birth of a lion cub at the local zoo that was born with 2 heads. Polycephaly, it's not as uncommon as you think. Heh, tell that to the kids in therapy. I mean, some things you just can't unsee. Seriously? I'll admit that seeing a 2-headed lion cub might be a little strange, but you're really gonna build it up as an omen of bad things to come? And I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that any kid is gonna find that all that traumatizing when this footage exists.
A kitten has been born with 2 faces, and veterinarians don't understand why. The little boy who owns the cat said he hasn't decided on a name for the kitten yet, but said he wants to name it Tiger.
The power goes out, and Joker just walks in and gets his face back, effortlessly killing every cop in his path. Gotham's finest, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the re-emergence of the Joker is the hot topic of conversation among Batman and his allies, and the Joker shows up on TV with John Claridge, son of the Joker's very first murder victim, Henry Claridge, and announces that the mayor will die tonight. So they up security around the mayor and put him under heavy guard. But then the cops all die as the result of the Joker poisoning their clothes. How did he poison their clothes? What was the point of killing a handful of cops when killing the mayor would be more sensational and have a higher chance of resulting in spreading more chaos? Why are they all frowning instead of smiling? We don't know. Batman tracks the Joker to the Ace Chemical building, wearing his old Red Hood costume. He uses a giant mallet to knock Batman into an empty vat that closes on him, and quickly starts to fill with acid. Joker then reveals that he's out to kill Batman's allies one by one, since they're holding him back from being the best Batman that he can be. But it's then revealed that this Red Hood is actually Harley Quinn, and the Joker is actually at Wayne Manor, where he abducts Alfred. Now, you might think that the Joker is abducting Alfred here because Alfred is Batman's greatest ally. And anyone who abducts Alfred must be doing so because he knows that Alfred is the butler of Batman himself. Actually, he is not abducting Alfred because he knows that Alfred is Batman's greatest ally. He's only doing it because he knows that he's Bruce Wayne's butler, and he knows of Bruce Wayne's ties to Batman Incorporated. Which then begs the question, why is it public knowledge that Bruce Wayne is connected with Batman Incorporated? I mean, yeah, sure, go up and set up shops all over the world with a bunch of little tiny Batmans running around and doing your bidding, but isn't going public with your association with a bunch of vigilantes a really bad idea? Batman number 14 opens with Batman escaping from the vat of acid, and returning to Wayne Manor where he finds Alfred missing, and an audio tape of the Joker torturing Alfred. The tape also says who Joker's next victim will be, and just as Batman goes to the commish to save him from the Joker, he starts to bleed profusely, just like the cops who were guarding the mayor. Batman manages to stop the bleeding, and he tells Nightwing that he has to handle the situation himself for the sake of protecting him and the rest of the Bat family. And then he immediately tells Nightwing that he needs his help taking Joker down at Gotham Reservoir. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? He figures that the Joker will be at the reservoir because he's reenacting his old crimes. So, does that mean that we're gonna see Joker try to pull Batman's boner?
Gotham City will rue the day it mentioned the word boner.
He meets the Joker at the reservoir, where he reveals that he's already poisoned the water, killed a bunch of people, and even blew up the reservoir just as Nightwing arrived. Aren't they both at the reservoir? So now that that's all out of the way, he and Batman have a chance to talk. He ties him up and announces his plan to the Bat family, wherein not only will he kill them all within the next 72 hours, but that he also knows all of their secret identities, and it'll be Batman who kills them. Batman number 15 begins with Batman monologuing about the Joker's freakish face, pointing out how the Joker's pupils never change with his emotions like regular people do, implying that he's not human. As chilling as that idea is, that just doesn't sit right with me. The thing about the Joker is that he is human. He's just as human as the rest of us, and that's what makes him so terrifying as a concept. Ever since The Killing Joke, his credo has been, all it takes is one bad day to turn an ordinary man into a monster. What makes someone decide to get a gun and shoot up a school? Sometimes it's only because of one bad day. Anyway, Batman breaks free and they fight for a bit, and Joker manages to kick Batman into the water. He wakes up back in the Batcave, where the Bat family confronts Batman about what's been going on. Batman insists that Joker doesn't know who they really are, but Nightwing points out that the Joker turned one of Dick Grayson's personal enemies, Raya, onto him, and Batgirl tells of how Joker abducted her mother. Do you see what I mean about this story's narrative being a total mess here? Batgirl's story doesn't end until the very end of this comic, and yet it somehow happens before this issue? And Nightwing's little skirmish hasn't even been published yet!
Great continuity!
And yes, I know I've been using that clip a lot, but damn it, I just can't get over this. How can one single story utterly fail this hard at presenting itself in the proper sequence? Tim Drake points out how when the Joker was at GCPD, he mentioned how Batman has his calling card. Batman reveals that after one of his earlier encounters with the Joker, he found a Joker card on the Batboat that could only have been there because the Joker stuck it onto it in the process of getting away. Everyone else worries that this is a clear indication that the Joker was actually inside the Batcave at some point, and that's how he was able to figure out their real identities. But Batman makes several points as to how impossible it would be for him to make it into the cave. And he offers no theories on how Dick Grayson's friend Raya or Batgirl's mother could possibly be involved if Joker doesn't know their secret identities, so naturally no one is completely sold on Batman's reassurances. He tracks one of the men working for the Joker, who is actually an orderly from Arkham Asylum, and he says that the Joker's been fixing up Arkham as Batman's own personal castle to come home to. This is something else that bugs me about how Joker is written these days. Now, I can totally understand him being fascinated by Batman, seeing as how their relationship can be a metaphor for human nature itself. He's chaos, he's order, blah blah blah. But why do so many writers insist on making the Joker gay for Batman? Batman number 16 shows Batman looking for Joker in the asylum, while having to contend with captured orderlies, an army of inmates made up like knights, and even Mr. Freeze, Clayface, and the Scarecrow, all of whom are dealt with in just over 2 pages. Boy, were they sure necessary to the plot. Batman eventually finds Joker in a makeshift throne room, with a court made up of the Penguin, Riddler, and Two-Face, and more Arkham orderlies dressed up as the other kings that the Joker deems are unworthy of his fealty. He decides this by rigging his chainsaw to electrocute whoever tries to remove it from a stone, and anyone who survives it is the true King of Gotham. So, yeah, he makes the guy in the Superman costume try to pull it out, and he quickly fries. Batman disarms the chainsaw before anyone else can try, and Joker turns on a bunch of TVs that show the rest of the Bat family being tortured by him in various fashions. Now, I know that I've been skipping through a whole bunch of things just for the sake of time, but for the moment, why don't we go ahead and recap the events that brought us to this point. Joker announces that he's going to kill Batman's family, and then Batman talks with his family where he reassures them that the Joker doesn't know who they really are like he says he does, and then he tracks down one of the Joker's henchmen, who points him to Arkham Asylum, where we find the Joker lying in wait for Batman to come and get him. Between now and when Batman left the Batcave, how much time has passed? An hour? 2 hours maybe? How did the Joker deal with all of Batman's allies in that short amount of time? Maybe he could do it if he had a bunch of his goons and henchmen doing it for him, but as we'll see in the next several issues, Joker was present at every one of these events. That is just impossible! Naturally, Batman is just as confused by this as the rest of us are, and Joker tells him that he'll let them go once Batman sits down at his throne. He does this, and he promptly gets electrocuted. And no, this isn't enough voltage to actually kill him, only knock him out. And since the story will be concluded in Batman number 17, I guess now is as good a time as any to look at the other tie-ins that will also be concluded in Batman number 17 somehow.